Hi folks, it's Jessica Rain, Democratic candidate for U.S. Senate, and I wanted to spend a bit of time today talking about housing, specifically the issues that we have in our country around affordable housing. It's a problem that affects the whole country and Delaware specifically. If you've heard me talk about housing at all before, you've probably heard me say that in Delaware you need to make about $18 an hour just to be able to afford an average one-bedroom apartment. And that is double, almost double, our current minimum wage. So we know a lot of people aren't able to even put a roof over their heads right now in our state. So this isn't just a problem in big cities or across the country, it's right here in our backyard as well. And I know that affordable housing is a big, complicated problem that's affected by things like the lack of affordable and available rental units, the underfunding of the Department of Housing and Urban Development as a whole. One unfun fact is that we spend less on the entire Department of HUD than we do on the mortgage interest tax deduction that we give to homeowners in our country. The budget of HUD is about $44 billion, whereas the tax deduction we are spending $77 billion on every year. So even people who qualify for housing assistance often wait for years just to get vouchers, and then they can't find housing where they can actually use the voucher, where it's accepted. So there are a lot of issues here, and I recognize that, but I want to focus on one issue that not a lot of people know about, and that is something called the Faircloth Amendment. So the Faircloth Amendment is an amendment to the Housing Act of 1937. It was signed into law in 1999 by President Clinton, and I want to give you a quick synopsis. So the Faircloth Amendment limits the construction of new public housing units. It states that the Housing Department cannot fund construction or operation of new public housing units with the capital or operating funds if the construction of those units would result in a net increase to the number of units that the Public Housing Authority owns and operates as of October 1st, 1999. So that's kind of a complicated way of saying, essentially, that HUD cannot use its funds to create public housing units if creating them means that we go one unit above the amount of units that we had in 1999. So since 1999, our population has grown by about 50 million people. And even if the share of people living in poverty holds the exact same, that's at least 6 million additional people who may be living in poverty in our country. And then on top of that, how many people are living above the poverty line but still struggle to find affordable housing? Probably millions more. So this 20-year-old law prevents us from actually expanding our stock of public housing to address the needs of people who are struggling to keep a roof over their heads. Recently, Representative Omar introduced the Homes for All Act, which crucially repeals the Faircloth Amendment. We need to see affordable housing as part of our nation's infrastructure and invest in it, because it's an asset to our country that helps families across state here in Delaware and our country as a whole lead more stable lives and have a higher standard of living. And we need to elect more people to Congress like Representative Omar and myself who see these issues and want to fix them, because these are the issues that are holding us back from prosperity. So that's my take on the Faircloth Amendment. We absolutely need to repeal it, and please support Congress people who are aware of these problems are going to fight to fix them in the future.